Welcome to Just a Fan Podcast, Episode 2. I am your host, Skullcap, and welcome! Thank you for clicking. I had a great weekend, did you? I think my weekend was awesome. I went to the Star Trek convention on Saturday. I thought that was amazing. My mom wanted me to go because she's mostly the Star Trek fan more than I am. But the only thing I got brought up growing up was the original cast, movies, just the movies, and then the movies from the Next Generation, and then the episode from the Next Generation. So it's her fault that I like Star Trek. And then I started getting into the Deep Space Nines, and then throughout the convention, everybody was into Voyager, so I guess that's my next thing I should just check out, because, yeah, Star Trek ain't too bad. So it was just me and my mom. We went there, and we started at the vendor's room, starting the whole day and everything. And they had a lot of good, nice items there. It just, I went there last year. This is like the second year I went, and it really had. It looked like it was smaller in the vendor's room, but it didn't really matter. I think I spent enough online already. So we went around. She got a couple, like a shirt. I think it was Kate. There's a person from Voyager, the captain, Jay Wade, I think that her name is. She wanted to get an she paid online to get an autograph, so we went in there to get an autograph photo, so she can get an autograph, so she can sign it later on in the day. I'll talk about that later. And then she got a Jay Wade T-shirt, so I thought that was pretty cool. So we're walking around, and there are people from other members of the crew were there, like the Doctor from Voyager, this one guy who was on the Darkness movies, the one Star Trek movie, Into Darkness. That's it. And then the Next Generation crew was there. Was it William Riker? I think his character name was, and then and some other I can't remember because I haven't seen it in a long time. But it was pretty nice to see him. I'm like, hey, I know who that is. So that was in the vendor's room. It was nice. And a couple of shirts, Star Trek items, and they had some Star Wars and Marvel. So it was like a little mixture of everything. Costumes were amazing. They didn't have enough of where you can take a picture from, because they had a couple items what they had from last year. But I thought the thing that was cool was where was from the Borg, where the Borg characters always sit, to recharge or whatever. They had that standing there, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I got my mom to take a pose, and it looked like she was smiling, so she wanted to be part of the collective. It was really funny. So there's two different rooms there's other rooms, but there's two main rooms that we were at. There was the Kelly Theater, and then there was the Leonard Nimoy Theater, in honor of Leonard Nimoy, of course. So that was the bigger theater, like huge. There was so many seats where you can go in. There's like VIP area only, and then there's seats, just for one-day people like me. And we had some good seats, but I'll talk about it in a little bit. So we went in the Kelly room first, and there was a thing going on. And it was the autobiography of James T. Kirk. Now the writer was there. I guess it was a whole thing on just the character himself, and it's gonna come out September 8th. Now what they were doing was, I caught we caught the middle because we were too busy in the vendor's room, but we caught the middle, and what they were doing was they had the autobiography book there, and then they gave them little pieces of paper. They say, okay, you're gonna play act the characters now. So they stand in the line, and they were trying to say who would be the best captain, or voice acting or whatever it was. So everybody would get in line, and there was this one guy who was really great at Captain Kirk, and I'm like, he's gonna win. So then after all that, they picked 5 people, but they picked this one guy that didn't qualify because I guess he was a paid look-alike, and I think they paid him. So he's like, well, you can come up on stage, but you know what, you don't count. That was funny. So, and he was really good too, because at the end, see, they got all 5 contestants on stage, and what they had to do is do their best Kirk saying Khan really loud. He did a good one, but he didn't qualify, so he got off stage. And then the other 4 was really good. The one guy that I thought was gonna win, yeah, he definitely won. But man, they were so loud when they were doing combat. You had to do it. You had to be the guy, Kirk yelling at Khan there, So that was in the Kelly Theater. That one's like a medium size. So and then they had a Cork's bar. If anybody watched D Space Nine, what is it? He's a Ferengi and he has a bar on D Space Nine. And you go in there. You know what? It looked way better. Last year, all they had was just tables and an area where you go get like some snacks and food where they're overpriced. Yeah, I didn't eat in there. And then they had some items where you could take pictures, but they like a little mini museum. Well, this time they had a separate room for that. See, they had other rooms, but we didn't really hang around there too much. And well, this time they actually had a look-like of a bar, like in the TV show. So I was glad about that. All right, moving along. So we go in the Leonard Nimoy Theater. Now, we went in there at 12. We stayed there for 8 hours because, for one thing, we had good seats. For another thing, I didn't want to make sure we didn't move. So anyway, we were sitting there. We were waiting for William Shatner to show up. He was going to show up there. So we had to like wait a couple hours. So we were sitting there waiting, and then they had like 50-year anniversary special where they were talking about what was going to happen next year. And they were saying Hallmark had some ornaments going, and then plush toys and everything. But the thing that caught my eye, and I thought it was pretty neat, but I don't think I could do it, Star Trek, the cruise ship. And it's like, what? They were saying it's going to start January 2017, at the first week and a half in. 6 days, 6 nights. There's going to be fun and panels there, I guess, where you talk, just like a regular convention, but on the sea. The captain will be William Shatner. No, he's not driving it. He's just going to be there as the lead of everything. So basically, he's the star, and everybody's going to be sucked in there because William Shatner is going to be on there for 6 days and 6 nights. They're going to start at Florida, go to Mexico, and then they're going to go to a private island that they rented out for a day, and I guess it was in an episode of something that they were talking about. Once again, I didn't see everything, but where it was like a resort, like a beauty and everything. But yeah, I don't think that's where they stopped, but that's where I stopped listening, because after I'm thinking, wow, a private island. But here's the price: $995. That's how much it costs, but it includes everything, for everything. So I think that was pretty cool. I don't think I could have done it. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would always want to go on a cruise ship, but not with Star Trek, because I'm not too much of a fan like that. I mean, I'm a fan, but not like where it's like, oh, I have to be like on the bridge of stuff. So, but yeah, hey, if anybody Star Trek fans, just go up. I believe it's StarTrek.com, and they should give more details into that. So, I waited, and we saw William Shatner there. I thought he was pretty funny. I mean, like Danny Crane up there. If anybody saw Boston Legal, and he would talk, and then he was talking about he directed Star Trek V, and I'm thinking, whoa, I didn't know that. And he had an idea. See, this is his idea. They said, what did he want to do with Star Trek right before he even had the idea, before the movie happened. He was like, he wanted to where the crew and himself go find God, but then what happens is they go to hell and they find the devil instead, or something like that. And the people who are behind are like, no, I think we're going to offend people by doing that, so pick something else. Let's compromise. But he really wanted this costume where it was like Rocky, like a rock kind of man, where smoke's coming out of fire and stuff. And he wanted like a bunch of them, like 100. And they said it was going to cost $200,000. And he's like, give me just 3 and I'll make it look like 100. But then it wouldn't work, so he had 1. And it took him a while to find the costume, he said. And then when it showed up, it looked weird, and the smoke, there was supposed to be smoke coming out of him and fire. They said when they did the fire, it almost burnt the guy inside the suit. And then the smoke itself, they said he followed the trail and there was guys smoking cigarettes, and that's your smoke. That was it. It was really small. And then he says when they were in the desert doing this, and he says that after when the wind picks up in the desert, because he says it's always windy, the smoke went away. So it didn't really work well the way how he wanted. But it sounded really good story. But the one guy who was behind it was probably right. Everybody just gets offended, and I think it would have been a great story to listen to. And then he was talking about Leonard Nimoy. Like, I was wondering why he wouldn't go to like conventions, but I guess he had it was something in his ribs that he was having trouble breathing. So every time he would do a couple of steps, he couldn't breathe. He had to catch his breath, so he said he couldn't do cons anymore. So that's understandable. And then after he passed away, William Shatner was like, he was basically a brother to him that he never had and he wished he had, but at least he had it for all those years because they were really close. And he said he wrote a book about how guys it's hard for guys to make friends, and you know what, I can vouch for that. I still have my couple of friends that I have, and they're awesome, but it's really hard to trust a lot of people, so it's just hard for me to make friends too. And then this one guy asked, like, they were doing Q&A now, and this one guy was like, hey, why don't you bury the hatchet with George Takei? And man, he had that face on his, that look on his face, and he's like, look, William Shatner's like, there's nothing to bury any hatchet. I have no idea what he was talking about, but I saw a documentary, and I guess something was going on with William Shatner didn't show up to George Takei's wedding, and it had nothing to do because George Takei is, gay. It had nothing to do with that. He said, and okay, this is what he said. He was like, when George Takei works with William Shatner always was busy, and he's trying to remember lines up for that day, the next day, and the other day. He's trying to remember lines stuff. But what George Takei was, he'd go into work, he would do his thing. They would never chat. He would just do his thing, and then he would leave. He was one of, like, I would do that work too. I go in, don't really talk to anybody, and then I leave. It's like you're like a wind in the place where you kind of know it's you, but don't really acknowledge you. So it's like that, he was saying. And he said for many years now that George Takei has been tainting his good name, I guess, and he has no idea why. So I have a feeling that somewhere around down the line, he probably did something, offended George, I don't know. But then he said he got the invitation. He's like, be in my shoes. What do you think he was really after for bringing me to his wedding? And everybody's like, because you're the captain. He's like, right, I'm the captain. So it wasn't because they were friends or they knew each other. It was mostly because it was like recommended because he's crew, he's the captain. Hey, let's invite you. That's mainly how he felt. So I didn't feel anything against that. To me personally, I like them both. So I think me, by burying the hatchet, I think they should just stop the drama. It's been 50 years or whatever, how long? It's over. Just stop. It's too short to be bittering over whatever they're bittering over. It's over. Just stop. I mean, come on. Grown men fighting still. I mean, you guys are not Hollywood. No. Those guys could bitter and fight all they want. You guys are icons for people that, love you guys. So just stop it. Stop it. I'm like the person who's talking to a child. Stop it. No. You want a timeout? You need a timeout. Yeah. And they'll be like, where are you again? Alright. So he was in. So William Shatner was in there. He said other things, but these were the ones that caught in my eye. And so that's what he was doing in the for an hour. And after that, see, I'm trying to remember. Okay, after that, there was the person who played Jadzia Dax. She showed up. I wanted to see her, so I saw her, and then I I had to leave because the Voyager cast was showing up, and I figured, you know, my mom wanted to see that, so okay, she go see it. I'll go to wherever. I went to Burger King and stuff, and then she wanted me to pick stuff, so I go get her stuff so she could eat in there in the theater. But the thing was, when I came back and watched like most of the ending, I wish I stayed, but I had to go because I was getting lightheaded. But I should have stayed because the Voyager cast is hilarious. They bonded like so well. That's why I like actors today, where like the Big Bang Theory is like the biggest one for me. I really enjoy it, but the thing is, they enjoy themselves too. They love hanging out with each other. They want to see where the characters are going to go. They enjoyed the show themselves, and that's like what I like to see. You don't want to just see the show and the characters. You want to see the cast having fun too. I love that. So they were just having a blast. Now the thing what I caught at the end was somebody was saying elbow, not an elbow, and I'm like, what is that about? And the one guy was explaining, I don't know the cast, but it was one guy who was in the yellow, he's in a yellow uniform. Isn't that like the engineer? Or, well, whatever. There's a Borg on there too. So they were doing like the scene where, if anybody sees like any TV shows, you'll have like two people talking and they're walking down the hallway. So they were saying they were walking down the hallway, elbow to elbow to each other, and the director would say cut, and then they would have to go back. So what happened was, they would do it, the director said cut, go back. He was grabbing for her elbow, but instead grabbed her breasts. And it took him a second, and it took her a second, and she's like, hey! And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was meant to grab your elbow. I didn't mean anything. So the director kind of saw the tension a little bit. It wasn't like too much like she was going to slap him. It was just like easy accident. So he's like, okay, you know what, break. So he took a break, and he was feeling bad that happened. You know, it was a little awkward. So then after the break, they go back, and they're getting in positions, and then he noticed on her, you know, she's the Borg on Voyager. Sorry, it's Voyager, and she writes on her elbow, "This is an elbow," and then she writes on top of her breast, "This is not an elbow." So that's what a elbow, not an elbow is all about. I thought that was so funny. They were so funny. They went behind schedule a little bit after because you know they were all having fun and they were telling everybody, oh, we gotta let him go, and everybody's like, oh, and the one guy, he's like, why didn't you book us for 2 hours? You should know. So that was funny, and they said, you know what, screw the schedule, and they went like past 15 minutes. It went behind a little bit, but it was okay. So it was getting like towards the end of the day where I was listening to a writer who, I forgot his name. See, I gotta pay attention more. What kind of host podcaster am I if I don't pay attention to stuff? But he was a writer for Next Generation, and then he went on to Voyager, and then so he had a blast on there. He was grateful, very thankful that he was on there. And then after that was the costume contest. Oh, you know what? This year was so much entertaining because I went there last year. You know what? The one person I got to see, and I didn't get to see in person last year, was Simon Pegg was there. Scotty himself. Shaun of the Dead. I mean, that was the guy. I'm like, he's here? Must see. And he was great. When, see, I'm talking about last year now. When he was talking about, like, he didn't talk about himself and then do Q&A. He's like, you know what? You know who I am. Let's just do a Q&A and let's get it going. And it was great. It was just Q&A back and forth. They were talking about Shaun of the Dead stuff. They were talking about the Star Trek stuff. They were talking about stuff that he was doing in future stuff. So that was amazing. I love that. All right, back to present day. So we the reason why I was talking about that. Last year's costume contest, it was boring. I mean, I love the costumes. That wasn't the boring part. The boring part was the hosts there. I mean, there was no hosts, and then the judges were like, how long did that take you to do that? Oh, that long? Is that a ball time? Oh, no, you did that? Oh, it was like that. But this one, they had like little celebrities. The girl who plays Jadzia Dax, she came back, and she was one of the guest judges. The guy who played Into Darkness was there. He was just the guy who would talk for a minute, and he had a weird voice, and he had a bald head. And I heard he played in a Frost Giant in Thor. He was there for signing autographs. I don't know his name. but he was a guest judge, and some other guys. And then the guy who I saw in the Kelly Theater, he dressed up as a Cleon, and he was there. I mean, I didn't really recognize him, but I recognized his voice. So it was like 43 people who attended, and I thought that was amazing. It was so great. So he was there, and they just made it fun. I mean, I love that. I love how you see costumes, but make it fun. You know, make it energetic. So it was great. So after that, see, through the whole thing, they had these big screens, and in the corner of the screens, they had where your number to, you know, get an autograph by a certain person. My mom was supposed to get Kate's autograph by 7 o'clock. It was like past that. She didn't get a chance to go anywhere until, see, even after. I thought she would get the autograph and I would see the show and then we can leave, but I saw the whole thing and they were saying people who are not getting autographs, you can stay, but people who are not, you gotta go, because they had to change up, because at 10 o'clock for gold members only, for VIP, you get to see an orchestra and everything. So it's like, oh, okay. So we're sitting there waiting, I'm talking to a couple of people, and it's really nice how people could just talk to you about everything and nothing. I love that. So finally, see, this is how they did the order. You got gold member people who already paid for the 4 days, and then it was like a deal where you get like a gold membership, get special seatings, special autographs. I guess there's like a special price to get 12 autographs, but those guys had to go first, and then the people who paid online for just standard, they were next, and then the people who you get to actually pay there if you didn't miss it online, and they were last. So it took my mom until like 8:30 to finally get up there, and it didn't take that long. Man, she was quick. But I was telling her, I was like making fun of her a little bit, like, what happens if she had a cramp? Then what? That would because like there was a lot, especially the William Shatner line. It was long, but they said Shatner, like when he gets in the mode, he just goes. So that was cool. I was talking to this one guy, and he had a ticket where he already paid online, and he would have had his like at 1 o'clock. He was getting it for his aunt, for Kate. And what happened was he missed that opportunity, so he had to go pay another one, or either he paid another one, or he had to go wait for that time to go. And he was like the last, so that kind of sucked for him. And these autographs, she paid like $70 for her autograph online. I mean, there's a lot of people when they were saying, "Oh, that's just terrible. They should just give it out for free." But if you really think about it, I think it's just mostly, it's for their livelihood too. I mean, what do you think? I don't think the con can actually just pay them so they can show up. That's probably how they get paid, I'm assuming. So really, it works out all around. We get to see great famous people, and we pay them for an autograph, and they get paid at the same time. Now, if I'm wrong with it, hey, guess what? Write a comment below, let me know, because that would be great to know, because that's what I'm assuming. We actually pay them to be there, or they get paid more, like from the con to there, but either way, I mean, that's what I'm assuming. So, Kate was 70, William Shatner was 100, but get this, I think Patrick Stewart, Picard, Professor X, $150. I mean, that sounded ridiculous, but I'm gonna say ridiculous here. When I first went to Amazing Con in 2013, Stan Lee showed up. It was like the first year, $250 with everything. Yeah, you tell me what's ridiculous, but he's an icon. You can't really talk about to a legend, so we're not talking about him. But anyway, it would really be cool to get an autograph by anybody, especially by Simon Pegg. I think I was kicking myself in the butt for that, but I think an autograph is like, a meaning, not just getting an autograph like this one guy was doing for like 16 years, just getting like a whole cast of autographs of collection. I think getting an autograph is showing that the meaning of that person had an impact in your life, and you want a signature showing that, man, the appreciation that I got from this actor from over the years, and what it really felt to, you know, be right next to a person that gave you confidence in everything in life. I think that's amazing. I don't want to just get an autograph. I mean, you can get an autograph just for a fan, but that's how I feel what an autograph should be. But it would have been pretty cool to get a Professor X autograph by Patrick Stewart. Hopefully, I'm saying his name right. But I am so terrified just you know, to even be in the same room with half these cast members. But the terrifying thing is, I don't want to go up there and then I meet a person that I admires, and then they screw it up by being mean a little bit or whatever, and then they ruin the whole thing. That's why I don't want to meet anybody, especially The Big Bang Theory. If I meet somebody at a wrong time and they're like rude or something, well, I don't know. I mean, I hear they're nice, but you know what? There's always something going on, and then it ruins everything, and then I can't watch it. Like the Dustin Diamond for me, you know, the guy who plays Screech. He was cool until, like, you know, like years before, where he's doing all this stupid stuff, and now he just ruins Saved by the Bell. I don't even watch it anymore, but because I have to him. So that's what I'm just saying. I don't want to meet my hero, and then they ruin it, and then I can't watch them anymore. That's my problem. I really like to get an autograph, but I can't because of that reason for me. That's just me, and that's just how I'm always going to be. Well, that's it. I had a great weekend. My mom enjoyed it. Finally got an autograph. I had to talk her into it because, you know, $70 is a lot of money, but it was worth it because she really admires it. So I had fun. I hope you guys did too. So I'm gonna end the podcast. Well, I got like a little, like three minutes in. So watch me keep playing the game. And, oh, I forgot, it's Castle Crashers, if you guys were wondering, but it's kind of, you know, obvious because it's, you know, older. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and hope you have a nice, great day, and I'll see you in the next episode, and always remember, believe in yourself so your dreams will come true. Have a nice day. Bye!